Caw, caw.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Clap your hands. Some more. Just give some more.
Well, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. But we're not doing that tonight because we don't have to do that every night. But we're doing something special. We're having Old Crow night, but it's not just Old Crow. It's super Old Crow, or is it extra Old Crow? Ben, where would you put this lovely tiny little bottle of Old Crow that you procured for people?
Considering the history with Old Crow and Dr. James there, so it's not really old Crow, but relatively speaking, it's older than me. So
I think when we did the stamps, it was early 70s. That's kind of where we kind of pegged it at.
Said the youngest it is going to be 74. So
newest it can be a 72.
Yeah, 72. Okay.
So I just want to say thank you everyone for stopping in. Out in the chat we see Icehouse, I see Neil, Tim, good to see you out there. I saw John Gunstill a little bit earlier. It's good to see you.
Tim is a recent graduate of Moonshine University, by the way.
Yeah. Well, congratulate. You know what? I have a whole big bottle of New Crow. So I'll cheers to Tim on that right now. Cheers, Tim. Congratulations on graduating. That's fantastic.
It's going to chug it for you.
I didn't know what happened to you two. You both stopped, you lazy bastards.
I haven't even poured anything yet.
Well, what the hell? This is a drinking show where we drink things.
I know.
So tonight we're going to be tasting what I just had. Actually, the Old Crow I just had, really not too bad.
I know.
It's not.
I don't know. Bad. Mine was $12.95, and it fits into this realm of $15 or less, kind of wherever you live. And it's really, hell, for some of the things we've had, this is pretty solid for a young whiskey. Now I can see maybe wanting bolder flavors from it, but
it's corn and alcohol and drops right off.
Am I going to piss everyone off if I say it tastes a little like Blanton's?
You probably wouldn't be too far off. It's I like Old Crow because it was my dad's of choice, but it does make a damn good hot toddy.
Yes, it does.
For a bottom shelf, it's decent,
yes.
And it's sentimental for me because this was poker night with a lot of my friends growing up for a long time. Pass around a bottle of Old Crow while we played. So,
Oh, Robert, good to see you.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping in. He's right; it is super reasonable pricing. And I'll be honest, it's something that I feel like a lot of people just skim over when you're 100%. There. More so than Old Granddad, because in the recent, say, year and a half, I think Old Granddad has gotten a little touting for its quality, at least at like the 114 level. I think this is I'm surprised how much I'm enjoying it. Or maybe I just needed a drink. I was gone last week. Well, they had what could have been Rye Whiskey of the Year, apparently. So I have my sample, and I'll find out what I think about that. So I guess maybe I'm a little excited, and I need to catch up on some booze in here.
Yeah, you got to start catching up right now.
Yep. All right. Okay.
Go back and do all 5 of the ones we reviewed Friday.
Yeah,
and then let's get into the Old Crow tonight.
And the blend, because it was a good blend.
The blend.
It was a pretty good blend.
No. All right. Now, do you got the Old Crow we have is, like you said, early 70s, but we were lucky enough when we went to Kentucky that we had a happy accident. We were supposed to go to a different distillery, and lunch took an hour and a half to get, so our plans changed. And we ended up going to the Old Crow grounds, and we were going to just drink some of the Old Crow there, but we forgot that there was a distillery there. Glens Creek is in one of the Old Crow distillery buildings. So we got to taste some old stuff we had. We also got to taste some old stuff some other people had that evening. Went even further back into the 1960s. And when we were there, we got to taste what they have. And I think it's 4 of their whiskeys use the surviving yeast strain from the original Old Crow.
Yes.
Which is, you can taste a little bit of the backbone. But there's a difference in the quality and punch that you're getting from the Glens Creek that I am not getting from the current Old Crow. And now we know they don't use the same yeast and everything like that, if I'm correct. But we'll delve into that in a minute. But we're just saying we were holding this one a little bit tighter to the vest because it was a really fun experience on our trip, and it was a little unexpected. Good to see you, Whiskey Straight Al. Good to see you stopping in. Oscar, thanks for stopping in. We forgot there was a distillery.
Well, they don't really. It's not very well kept up. But the sign is in one place, and then the Glens Creek is it's down, as they say, down the road a piece.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They got quite a lot. They have a lot of work ahead of them trying to restore those buildings. I think they're working bit by bit, but
I mean, just getting the one going.
Undertaking.
Just coming down the road, this is kind of the first kind of bump off where you can see one of the buildings that they have for the Old Crow Distillery. But you go down the road probably another quarter mile, and there's another kind of bump in and another few sets and a couple more. So it's actually a pretty larger facility than what you think, even though it's kind of nestled between the road and like the hill on the side. But it runs a really nice long way down the road, and there are a lot of other buildings along the way that, like you were saying, that this one we're looking at is not Glens Creek, it's just off behind it, but you can see how a lot of it is already in disrepair, and so is kind of their building. So they've been spending a lot of time upgrading the building and just kind of keeping kind of status quo, if you would, for what was there. But a really neat kind of experience where we got to taste what it used to be, and kind of, well, we have today's version of Old Crow, but really kind of like the original bloodline of Old Crow, if you would, but before it got altered. Oh, hey, that's awesome. Google just updated me that we went live. Thank you so very much, Facebook and Google. You're only 8 minutes late. Let's start with the current Old Crow. Cool. Because I want to see what changes from this to the older version.
Everything.
Okay. And this one is, the one I have is obviously 80. I believe that is the way it is now. I get a little light menthol-y note on it. I do. I'm sorry. What? There's a little menthol-y note.
Put the Newports down, Patrick. Put the Newports down.
Menthol. Yeah, I thought you were a Virginia Slims man.
No.
It's a dusty peanut shell, peanut shell, like a roasted peanut shell, for me right off the top.
Old candy corn, very old candy corn.
Oh, that's a good. That's a good way to put it, because it is
circus peanuts.
Candy corn from Halloween a decade ago.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't believe you threw that peanuts thing in there, man. The candy peanuts are horrific.
It's like candy that's been sitting in your grandma's dish for 5 years.
No, it's a bane of candy existence.
They are an abomination. Gone. Yeah, they are an abomination. They are. I think Mike's pretty right on the nose on this. So.
Yeah, Tim said candy corn in your grandmother's pocket.
Right.
He's getting just a hint of mothball.
I don't want to know how you know that, Tim.
right next to the pack of double mint gum for Patrick.
Yeah. I hope that's a pack of gum.
It's light and it's thin. I mean, in the grand scheme of things. But it's not abrasive.
It's got an okay viscosity. It is what it is. And for as bad as they've neglected it for years and years and years, it's not that bad. Right. I mean, it makes it sound like it's got a great personality, but no, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as bad as you think it is. I mean, if you give Old Crow a chance in a blind, I think you realize it's a lot better than what you think it is.
Right.
It's got a good backbone. It's only a little bit of scoliosis. Just not. No,
it's really what Blanton's aspires to be, but
for its complexity, I'm not gonna say it's I'm not gonna say it's ridiculously different. I mean, Bland's is a little bit richer, a little more leathery, but it's not like it's thicker. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had to go there, but
yeah. Oh, 60% Old Crow, 40% Peach Snapple is tolerable at youth sports games. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to take your word for that.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of the Peach Snapple, so don't ruin that for me.
I was kiwi strawberry, so I don't know, but I think I could handle that. Yeah, I can see how this would. If you were mixing a drink, I can see how this would hide in a lot of stuff. It's not playing center stage, but it's just going to go down easy.
Old Crow in crushed ice is pretty damn good. I will say that. It's very refreshing.
With or without lint. Next to the Werther's Originals.
Always got to be the lint.
The lint. That thing stuck to it, Emily.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Drink it on your plastic-covered couch.
I like Eli. He's got my mind. Everyone gets started. 3-drink minimum by 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Get on it. Start tilting a few back. But it's not exciting. I would almost put this as an okay entry level whiskey for somebody. Like if you were trying to bring someone in, where some people were in the past, I've said like a Basil Hayden. It's fairly similar complexity wise for me. I don't think it's like drastically different.
Right. No, there's not much complexity at all.
It's my understanding that the current Old Crow is just 3-year-old Jim Beam white label.
Oh. Why do I feel like what is Jim Beam white label? 2?
4.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
No, I hope that's not true, because now I'm going to have to get the white label, because I feel like I like this better than I do an older year version of it.
I actually did a tasting at work with some guys over some of the different Jim Beam labels, and the white's not terrible. I think the white's going to you're going to tell the age on the white because it's got a little bit more oak presence to it from the barrel versus this. Similar profile, but you just got a little bit more oakiness to it overall. This to me, I'm getting there's like an artificial sweetness to it.
It's like almost a fake honey.
Yeah.
And then it does have a little bit of spices in it, but they are flattened over.
Right.
Yeah, it falls off, but
Oh. Damn. Everyone drink to John. He's still at work. So, let's make him jealous. Cheers, John.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to make him jealous with Old Crow, but
hey, he doesn't have anything.
At least we're drinking. I still get kind of that dusty peanut shell note on the palate too. Carries right over from the nose.
Okay, I have a weird question. Are you thinking that this? It's not a weird question. Do you think just this at a higher proof is going to get you more punch? Because I don't think you're going to get a lot more viscosity bringing this up for some reason. It's very thin.
At one point, they had done Old Crow Reserve, which was older and I think a higher proof, but it kind of went away.
Of course.
And I had completely forgotten about that one until it was on an event. Actually, I'm sure Tim was on there too. That Freddie Noah was on, and he was talking about that, about those, the differences and how they kind of brought it back, and it kind of meant something, but they've really done a poor job of taking care of this brand that really was a competitor to Jim Beam, which is one of the reasons they kind of shoved it on the bottom shelf. But it had this whiskey used to kick Jim Beam's ass in sales all the time back in the day.
Okay. I'm gonna pour a little bit of the other Old Crow. Now, Mike, you have a couple. How many Old Crows do you have tonight?
I've got two others. I've got a 1970's Old Crow that was a European import that I had from an event. I had a little bit of that left, and it's a 6-year 86 proof. And then I've got just a little tiny bit of the 69 Old Crow Chessman.
This is night and day, man. Just on the nose alone. Oh my god!
It's a tremendous difference on the nose.
It is 100% not the same whiskey, and the DNA isn't even there.
Right. It's not at all. This is rich caramel and brown sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim, we'd be interested in that. A single barrel would be interesting to see if it did have at that higher ABV. What happens there if you might get some of this back? But this is, oh my god, this is rich and bold. Holy shit. Really, I think some nice leather notes in here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of leather. There's a slight tinge of smokiness to it. I'm getting a little bit of cooked cherries, maybe some stewed apples in there too.
Yeah, a lot more vanilla.
Yeah.
Even the wood is more forward, but that, like I said, it was pretty nominal.
But it's not oaky wood. It's more.
It tastes like aged. It feels like aged wood when you're smelling it.
That's one of the differences here. The current Old Crow is, as you said, a 3-year-old offering. This is the one we're sipping now is a 6-year-old.
And it probably was older than that.
Probably that would be the youngest spirit that's in there, and we're coming in at 86 proof instead of 80.
So okay, well, I mean, obviously the age is playing a big factor, but only the 6 points, 4 points, whatever it is. That
6 point difference, yeah.
But this stuff is like the event we had with Freddie. He was talking about because especially 50s and 60s, but really in the 60s, bourbon was taking a nosedive, and people were starting to move towards the clearer spirits. Yeah. And so there was a lot of whiskey that was just being sat on and sat on and sat on. So a lot of those old decanters too that were aged by months, it might have been, said 115 months, but there could have been some pretty close to 20-year-old stuff in there because nobody was buying it. Right. And like this stuff, it's 6 years old. There's a good chance it's 10, 12 years old or more that's in here because nobody was buying it.
But and a nice brown sugar, almost like a cotton candy sugar. Excuse me.
There's a butteriness too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And just on the
and circus peanuts.
No. Cocksucker. What are you doing, man? Can't do that. That's
deep fried circus peanuts.
That's like one of the. That's disgusting. I can't. Ugh. Why don't you just throw some mayonnaise on there or some stuff? Make it real nice.
Deep fried butter, baby. Deep fried stick of butter.
Butterscotch too on the nose, way different than the other one.
Emily mentioned the Werther's Original a minute ago, talking about the Grandma's Pocket, and I'm getting a little Werther's Original on the palate off of this, along with the it's a nice spicy oak. To it.
And it's beautifully oily.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry if you didn't know what the hell this meant. It was viscous. As they were talking. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Patrick has his own language.
It's just
you can't talk when you're wearing a ball gag, so you have to learn to express yourself.
Significantly chewier.
Help! Help!
You need safe words. You gotta know your safe words, man. Or safe symbols. You know, whatever it is.
Safe symbols.
Keep them simple.
Yeah. It almost, like the viscousness of it almost tastes more like a tequila to me. Because it's there and in the middle, and then it's not as much so on the end. Like the barrel note comes through, and it's a little more drying for me on the finish. Grandma's Pocket. It's that special Old Crow cocktail name.
You should make one of those up, John.
Yeah, we'll bring that back on the show. And Mitch is right. He agrees with me. Who under 80 eats circus peanuts? Come on.
Who eats those things, period? I don't care if you're over 80.
Yeah.
That's the worst safe word, Tim. Those are the things. That's how someone gets hurt. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why, but I had the instance to the Great Outdoors where it was go faster, and John Candy's saying, "You bastard, you bastard," and he's like, "What did he say? He said go faster, go faster." That's how someone gets hurt, Tim. Just oh, this significantly better, but this for me, but it's not as big a jump as like the Dickel was. Like the current day Dickel to the 1960s, it was a.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm always going to giggle when I hear that.
Yeah.
And you were talking about jumping on the Dickel. You were talking about jumping on the old Dickel.
It was a much better product. That one was not just light years. It went from being like whatever to being a solidly good whiskey. This is nice. I'm not going to put it into like amazingly or even like the good quality. It's like right on the edge of it for me.
You know what? Well, for me, I'm sitting here, I'm taking a few sips, kind of taking this in. What it's reminding me a little bit of, just the flavor, maybe the age wise, but it's to me, it's getting in that Eagle Rare territory as far as kind of the notes and the flavor and the profile. I would love to sit down and do a blind of this against Eagle Rare and see how that would compare, because I think it's kind of right in that ballpark for me. So
I'm getting a little bit of like a cherry, like a cough syrup cherry note in it, hidden in there too. But I get what you mean. It's darker. It's much more solid. This complexity level is close to a Buffalo. I find that weird that we're talking Old Crow, and that's the second time we've had kind of a Buffalo Trace comparison. You know where your mind pulls to wherever it goes to. So
those bastards are everywhere.
Got any other things you're upset about tonight? We'll take a timeout for Mike's 2 cents.
I'm not upset about it.
It's our new special at the end of the show.
Old Man Mike's Corner. Okay, I'm nosing the 70s European import along with the stuff that you had, Ben.
Okay.
The one that you got is there's a mustiness to it that this other one doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
It's more complex, but it does just have that edge, that a little more of like a little bit of an ethanol note in it. I'm going to pour some more of the original. Now, yep, that's right. It all survived.
You okay there, man?
Yeah, it all
Safe.
survived. Safe. It all made it.
Unlike Mike's Promethean bottle.
Yeah.
Too soon, man.
It's been like a year ago.
Do you need to drink to that too? Or is it
I,
Mike's Promethean
Here's to
bottle?
Mike's Iron Root bottle. Yeah.
my daughter will still bring that
still
up.
sore.
Remember that time you broke that bottle? Like, yeah, I remember. I remember it. It was on my pants. It was in my socks.
He had a hard
everywhere.
time washing his pants afterwards.
Kids will never let you live anything down.
No. It's like, it was hilarious. Stupid brat.
I'm like, I like your kids so much.
Nah, she's good. So, all right. So while we're yammering about this, because I know that Ben and I both had stuff we were going to say about Old Crow. And I mean, I'll always say, I've said it repeatedly on here and otherwise, I got no problem with it. I think everybody should drink Old Crow. I think it's fine. People don't give it enough credit. But Dr. James Crow is the one that, I've seen it several, they said he brought the science into distilling, but he's the one that wrote it down. So, I mean, there was science there. There was science, or as Alan likes to call it, alchemy, or some would say witchcraft. He's the one who said, let's write it down. So, he should get credit for that, because before it was just kind of like, and he's like, well, let's have some consistency. And then that's what started that, people getting the reputation for it being quite the whiskey. But that was back in the 1800s up until, I think, well, he gave it up. He gave it up in the late 1800s, I think it was. And then somebody else had handed down, but they had gotten the yeast strain and recipe and everything else and kind of moved on up. But, yeah, Dr. James Crow was, he was the man back in the day. Yeah.
I mean, and you have some people that attribute the whole sour mash method to him. He's obviously not the one who invented it, but I think he kind of perfected it to a degree.
Yeah.
Using some of those methods. And then, I believe he was one of the first, I'll say one of the first that we know of that was, using litmus paper to test the pH of his mash.
It's always good. That extra little bit of science starts honing things in, and you start to cut things out. It starts to demystify the alchemy a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry. There's sometimes where you can add science and learn stuff, and you feel like you pulled back the curtain. At the same time, you realize how complex the curtain is and what's all going on, and you're like,
yeah,
I still don't know how it all works.
Right.
So, Emily's right. History is written by the victors.
Yeah.
The Victoters, Patrick. The Victoters.
Yeah. The Victators?
Or the dictators.
I feel like that should be a thing we have for next fall when all the yearly releases come out, is something about the Victators.
The yearly release of Old Crow. We should tell everyone we're standing in line and see if we can start a thing.
Say that. I'd be down for that, but you say that, and all of a sudden it'd be like, there was a run on Old Crow last week.
Yeah,
that is going to happen if Freddie Nose gets his wishes. Doing a couple different things to bring back Old Crow, which could be using their craft distillery to bring it back, or doing a barrel strength single barrel picks of it, but bringing back somehow to bring the name back, because it's been languishing down there, and some of it is probably just to keep space on the shelf, because people buy it. I mean, they buy it, but that cheap whiskey, and Freddie even said, he goes, they can't be making any money off of it because they're selling it so cheap with all the taxes and everything else on it. They can't be making any money on it, but it's occupying space that somebody else could be taking. So it's serving a purpose.
I was explaining to my wife earlier tonight, just kind of discussing Old Crow, and I just said, my opinion, Dr. Crow and the Old Crow label, it deserves to be a top shelf whiskey with its history.
Yes.
And what it is, but it's, like you said, languishing on the bottom shelf, and it really deserves more than what it's getting and what's being put into it.
Okay, but the truth is if you're going to make it a a brand, like reestablish it, it's going to be a significant, in my mind, a significant difference than what they have now.
Oh, it has to
obviously, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it almost has to be. It has to be like a rebranding or a re-break. I mean, like it would have to be touted, you know, shouted from the mountaintops about what you did. You know,
but you'd almost need to leave this one alone, and it's Old Crow White Label, and then you call it something different. So then that way it is, because you're not going to be able to bring it back to the scale that people would like you to bring it back. But with the craft distillery coming online, you could do distillery only at the craft distillery. You know, bring that out, and you know people are going to line up for it. You know that they are.
Tim brings up a good question about Old Crow and Mellowcorn continue to confuse marketing teams. It's one of those things where it's $12.99. You know, that's another thing when you're walking through the thing, and if you don't have a lot of money, for $12, $13, you can be pretty happy for a long time.
Oh man, that bottle right there is $8 here at home in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Fucking
that was 22 years ago when I started really drinking whiskey. I had taken some whiskey up to my parents' house in Iowa, and my dad was asking me about it. He was just like, "What's the big deal with this one?" And whatever one I had, it was like $30-some a bottle, and I was like, "It's like that." And he looked at me like I was insane for spending that much money on whiskey. So he goes up in the kitchen, goes up, and I hear him spin the Lazy Susan. He comes back out, and he's got a handle of Old Crow. And he just puts it down. He goes, $7.99, buddy. But, you know, for him, though, it was, I'm going to have a shot. I'm going to make a hot toddy. I'll use it in cooking, you know, do whatever. And it was fine, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, there's not a whole lot of things right with it. It's just fine. It's a totally fine whiskey.
Yep. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I've got a bottle of this OCD number 5 from Glens Creek. Using that same yeast strain as the original. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that right now. Kind of do a little comparison there.
Am I not right? Before they left the old distillery, one of the workers there, was it the fermenters that he sealed? What?
Yeah. Hey, Ben.
Yes.
Before you sniff the OCD.
Okay.
Take a sniff of the new Old Crow.
The new one. Okay.
And then the old one, and then take a hit of the OCD.
Okay.
It's a frickin' roller coaster.
All right, here we go.
But yes, I believe you're right, Patrick. Somebody, they had sealed it all up, and so.
As a matter of fact, I think it was the master distiller there, and it was owned by National Distilling at the time. And so when they shut it down, he sealed up the fermenters, and
with the hope and thought that maybe someday.
And he didn't clean them. He didn't clean them. He sealed them uncleaned. And then I believe when Glens Creek came in, basically there was one tank left. I guess people had, you know, kind of reclaimed them for recycling and whatnot, refurbishing the steel and the other parts. But there was one tank left that was sealed, and they opened it up, and, you know, there it was in there. They were able to pull it and start working with it, and he brought him in to advise. And we'll get into a lot of that story when we talk Glens Creek here soon, but because it's amazing. But yeah, so
and the only thing with that is so they have access to the original yeast strain, and if say like Limestone Branch or whoever wants to try to bring back their version, I feel like there's this weird competing whiskey thing that I don't know if it needs to exist, you know, like I guess it's like you're voting, you're like trying to figure out whose grandkid is better when you get to something like that. It was like, here's the bloodline back here, and it's done this, and then it started again, you know, like it completely cut off and stopped, and then like a little while later it had its line and lineage start opening up again. I find it interesting that there are a few different people that want to try to pull this back. You know what I mean?
All right, so Mike, you had me nosing all three in kind of in order from the new Old Crow to the original Old Crow to then the OCD. Yeah. OCD is a cask strength, you know, a barrel proof version coming in 116.6 proof here. It is like a roller coaster ride. I compare it to nosing the current Old Crow is like you're climbing up. You hit the current Old Crow, you reach the top. You hit the OCD, and it's like, whoa, mama. This is hitting big time.
Yes, you're going for a loop.
Yeah. But the thing is, you can tell the richness and the intensity of the OCD coming at the higher proof, but it noses to me like if I were to take this 1970s Old Crow and crank it up to that same proof level, that's what I would be nosing, is this almost the same thing.
Yeah.
It's got the same backbone, the same character, some of the same attributes and notes are all there.
It is rich.
Very.
Oh God.
Yeah, I do remember that it was significantly more viscous in my mind. Sorry, just getting a goofy text. Goodbye with that thing. It's all right. I lost my wallet yesterday, so there's all sorts of fun stuff scrambling about with that. So,
where did you lose your wallet?
Somewhere between
porn
the
store,
grocery store, and home. is where I lost it. Oh, I was not keeping up on the chat. My bad. No, Tim was talking about how Baker's is another undervalued kind of group with the marketing team after they upgraded. I would agree completely. That would be, and I feel bad for the people marketing it, because you can tell they put a lot of effort into the change in the recent year or two with what they did, but it still hasn't seemed to like caught fire like most of the other ones. Most of the other ones have, and it's not a bad whiskey. It's one of those ones where like, well, you've seen other bad marketing campaigns,
one or two.
That's fuckers. God damn. I like underpants gnomes. Are you guys in charge of them too? If fucking stealing wallets and shit in the middle of the night.
Yeah, they can't steal during the daylight.
Well, that is true. But and who remembers Old Crow Reserve? What, did I miss some?
Wait till you see Emily.
Oh, God damn it, Emily.
You need to upgrade, Patrick.
Hey, man, I like to go in and, you get that hands-on experience. You got to see
browse.
Things. Yeah. It's not the same online. That's just not. You don't have that same.
Like to browse the clearance bin.
You gotta feel dirty when you're buying something like that. Like you're doing something to be ashamed of.
I think shame goes hand in hand with it, unless you're experienced like yourself.
Are you trying to say that the shame goes away?
Yeah, I would assume so. If you're
saying, do you think instead of like a bottom shelf, do you think there should be a shame shelf of whiskey?
I think that bottom shelf means two things when you're shopping at the stores that you're shopping at.
Right.
And just what would that be, Mike?
I
don't know, but
Emily,
Tim makes a comment. Yeah, Tim makes a comment there, and Patrick, you did say about you want the hands-on experience there. We're headed very borderline to after hours kind of commentary here.
I'm not even going to put that up, but
do it.
I'll drink to that. Because that was really funny, and I wasn't fucking cutting it.
I see the gimp rising up behind the couch over there.
That's right.
Woo!
Here's chains rattling.
Okay, so what are some of the flavors that you are finding similar from OCD to the old 70s Old Crow? And just for Spencer, no, we're not. We've come down too far down this path. We're not changing now. Not tonight.
This ship is upside down and going down, baby. Just keep playing the violins. I get the
Sorry, Kevin. He's right. The shame shelf was a whiskey. And the shelf behind the counter where the Blanton's cost $300.
You're getting in late, Kevin. We've already been bashing Blanton's earlier.
I didn't bash them.
I did.
You just don't want to. You don't want to see Patrick's. You don't want to see Patrick's Blanton's bottle toppers.
Hey, those are special ordered releases.
It's a different kind of horse topper.
There you go. Tail topper? What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Pony play? Yeah, pony play.
All right. What are some flavors that are similar to two whiskeys? Fucking pony boys.
Stay gold, pony boy.
That's just what I was gonna say.
Well, I mean, the OCD I don't think is a fair comparison, and not just because of the proof, but I think the Glen's Creek there's an intensity to it that the others don't have, and I don't think they were trying to recreate Old Crow in any way, but there is that buttery caramelness that's carrying over, except it is cleaner and stronger, much stronger in Glen's Creek than it is. It's crazy how dusty the Old Crow smells compared to the Glen's Creek.
Right.
It's very sweet. Not Wilford Brimley sweet. It's just very sweet.
Yeah, this is the brown caramel. I mean, the brown sugar and the caramel notes kind of carry over, but it's just much more intense with the OCD. I get that buttery note too that you're talking about. Kind of the caramel, a bit of a caramel apple thing going on. But when you, I don't know, it's I don't say it's hard to describe, but when you taste them, you can tell there's this vein or current of similarity between them. But the OCD just they bring it with some really good intense flavors. I can't wait to get into doing the Glen's Creek thing coming up.
It's hard to go backwards from the Glen's Creek to the Old Crow.
Right.
Well, because you feel like you're jumping off a ledge. Like I already said, we said the Old Crow was thin to begin with.
Well, it's like if you get out of your car and you jump into your car at the drag strip, that you're burning alcohol or nitromethane, and then you go get into your passenger car to go home. That is, maybe your passenger car to go home is a 400 horsepower car itself, but it's not the same thing. It feels slow. It's not slow, but it feels slow compared to what you just went into.
I tell you what's easier to do is sip the OCD first and then sip the 1970s Old Crow. And I think from going that approach, you're going to pick up the continuity of flavors a little better.
I get that.
Than if you jump from the one to the other. The proof on the OCD is 116.6. This is the number 5.
So that's what 16.6 do like 92-ish
to 86.
Okay. So significant. Tim's right. Yeah, the yeast strain is a big deal here. I don't know. This is
what
I still think the most surprising thing I found tonight is how it sounds bad how meh I think Old Crow is, but for me, like middle of the road is not like a bad thing.
Oh man.
I feel like there's too many people that start using rating things too high. Kind of if you watched Just One Bite with like Dave Portnoy when he's rating pizzas, he rarely ever goes. If anything gets up to like a 9, it's like mind blowing. Like there sometimes like a 6.6 is like, well, it's not really it's an okay pizza. He's like, I'm not driving to get it, but it's not like I would turn it down or I'd walk past it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm surprised at how good it is for what it is. It would sit in like a JTS Brown area where it's like, well, for $9 to $10, this is actually pretty fucking good for what it is.
add water to the OCD, water it down a little bit, and I sip it next to the 70s Old Crow, I can barely tell a difference between the two at all. The Old Crow gives me a little bit more of oaky barrel spice on the back end versus the OCD, but flavor profile wise, I mean, it's just like straight even. But I mean, I added a decent amount of water to really bring that proof down on the OCD, but it's man, that's where it is. That's where you can really bring this out, and you see what that yeast does and how close these two really are.
I forgot to buy a bottle there, so I don't have one. So it's gonna be waiting on Mike.
We'll get you some samples there, some way.
I was in Giant Land when we were there, and I was nervous. Thought Mike was a giant. Fucking the guys working there used to play for the Stewart. Used to play for the Indiana Pacers, and he makes Mike look small. So
UCLA All-American.
Yeah,
I was not tall enough to be Scott's crutch. It's I think when I looked at
Stewart's crutch.
Man, the sweet caramel note on this is just amazing.
Yeah, you're right. You water down a lot. They are quite a bit closer.
Yeah.
Cheating. So then that would gives me even more hope for the future. Yeah, I would. Well, it does. Like, I don't mind if you did. I am more excited about like a special version Old Crow, but thing is like if there was a special version Old Crow, does it have to be? Can it be like a $50 version? Does it have to be a $125 version when it comes out?
Right.
That's my only concern.
or they take it the other way and do like the benchmark with Buffalo Trace.
Oh fuck. So,
why? What did I mean?
I will say that the OC. I was surprised at the cost of the OCD when I went there to go buy it. I was all in. I'm like, I want a bottle of it. Actually, I would have liked to have gotten a bottle of all their stuff, but you know there are limits. But he's like, yeah, you can still go to OCD 5. It's like, great. How much is it? And I don't know, whatever it was. It wasn't $100 whiskey. You know, it was like
it was
55,
60, 50 to 60, something in that range.
Considering especially what this is, that's a damn steal.
Yeah.
That's
pretty damn good whiskey for that money.
I think I'm going to stop everyone in the show from saying stuff like that. That's what it should be. For all of us consumers out here, that's a lovely buy. Yeah. So we did that with Rua, and we kind of screwed ourselves over when we started praising that too much. It went from like $37 to like $58.
Well, you can't buy Glens Creek online, so
that's true. That is true. You do have to go there to get that.
You gotta go there.
When are you going to put the pricing structure in, Robert?
Yeah.
I want to say something. I think you know what I'm going to say, Robert. I'm not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it. We're all thinking it. We're all thinking it.
Just knock on some wood. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're never going to be able to interview them. But that's okay, because we'll interview everyone else.
Right.
Tim, I don't even have a Rolex, let alone a crotch anymore. So no.
That's all right. Patrick will give you all the crotch shots you want. On VHS.
Home VHS, recorded from a fuzzy channel.
You don't want a digital copy of this.
Boob, boob, I see a boob, I see a boob.
Come on. You know, half the people watching the show had gone through a moment with that in their lives. I know I got
flipping it back and forth.
trying to get it to come on your friend's like thing, and you're going like around the horns like 178, like it's kind of coming in. And then you're like watching it, and all of a sudden, like someone's mom comes down the steps, and it's like, "Oh, what are you two trying to watch?" Nothing. Everything's fine. Everything's fine here. Bullshit. Don't tell me I'm not the only one that had that experience. Like, there's other people here who've had that.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about, but it just sounds funny.
Hey, Peter, check out Channel 9.
That's a carpet of chest hair. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah.
Even going back to the original Old Crow, there's just something, not the original Old Crow, the current Old Crow. There's just something, it's just, it's comforting. I do suggest people go out. Everybody go out and go buy bottles of Old Crow. I think it's okay to say that. Everybody go buy bottles of Old Crow. You're not going to regret it. Have some on crushed ice, make a hot toddy, do other things with it, make cocktails, have some fun. It's cheap. You're not going to break the bank. Buy Old Crow. Don't buy the other stuff.
I don't think it's going to be horrible. It's not going to be disappointing for what it is either. Like there's some other stuff we've had that lands even in the $30 to $40 range, and it is makes you question how someone released it. But this is not one of them. So yeah, go out and buy yourself a big fat bottle of this and see what happens. And if you're even luckier, you can play the auction game like Ben did and see if you can find some Old Crow and play this game again. We'll keep an eye out for some more things like that might be purchasable, so we can do an old and new tasting like we did tonight with a couple of you out there. And Ice House, I know you had it out there. If you're still on, why don't you tell us what you thought about the 70s version? I know there was a couple other people out there. If you did get a bottle, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, I was curious. We haven't heard from the winner.
I think this will be an ongoing thing. We'll be picking up some different fun things at auction to try out and do some really cool stuff like this. So,
and it is still possible to find. I am not a dusty hunter. I don't go out and go looking for them. I've been very fortunate to get some of them in the past. The people that do that and have their lines on it, good news. I mean, those guys they seem to have they know where to look, they know how to get it. But it is possible to find these things out there. It's getting harder and harder to do it, but it is very possible to find these old whiskeys out there still, especially old beam decanters. I think the Crow stuff is a lot harder, partially because of Fred Minnick, and even he has admitted that he screwed up because somebody asked him what was the best whiskey you ever had, and he said it was a 1969 Old Crow Chessman. So then you used to be able to get these things for under $20 a piece, and now people want a lot of money for them. But the Old Crow Chessmans were done, like when they put them out, it was an entire chess set. Each bottle was a chess piece. And then you bought the rug that these full-size bottles went on. So people bought them as collector sets, and they've been sitting on them the whole time. So there's people that have them, and they're sitting on these collector's bottles that have been sitting upright, and they might have the whole thing. And now a lot of them know what they've got. Where you used to be able to pick up stuff like that without a fight. And if you try to buy a chessman at an auction, I think you shit a chicken if you saw how much it went for.
Right. Oh, I wouldn't even want to think of that.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kevin. I'm just really not sure. I don't know what type of shots Mr. Rose is trying to take this evening, but we're going to go right past it. And just as proof, 60 Hertz saying he got some 6-year-old Old Crow from the 70s and imported it to New Zealand. So I was going to say, so it is out there and you can get it. Just more signs that it's a little bit of work, but you can do it. So, now let's see here. We do have some stuff coming up. What are, I think some of the shows we have coming up are with Glens Creek. I know is one.
Yeah.
Bluegrass Distillery is one.
We have a bottle kill next Monday.
Oh yeah, we don't even know what we're doing yet, but it's going to be a massive. It's going to be a big one.
It's going to be a massacre.
Yes, 6, 8, 10 whiskeys, whatever. They're all going down.
And then Kentucky Artisan the Friday the 4th.
Friday the 4th, right after that.
Yeah.
And then 21st is Jason Bronner from Bourbon's Bistro and Buzzard's Roost in June on the 21st. And I think there's someone on the 14th. But
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass. Yep. So there's more.
And July 5th, newly added, Brian Cushing.
That is right. That was something I want to talk about. Brian is starting his own channel, and he is looking into basically Victorian drinks.
Right.
And how to make them. Sorry, go ahead, Ben. I was
going to say he's been doing this for a while. So he Victorian era cocktails, and I mean he brings the whole thing from reenactment style, the dress, the look, everything to the ingredients and the cocktails they're doing. And he's making some fantastic drinks. He's going to have a great program where he's highlighting cocktails from this era and time period, and which really is kind of in a big way, the birth of the cocktails that we enjoy today. So should be a really cool show. He's a great guy, and you're not going to want to miss that one. So,
and there's going to be a lot of stuff that people don't know about as far as cocktail making that he'll be bringing to light, or the background of how it evolved to where it is today. I think there's going to be a lot of drinks that happen there that people are going to find exciting that they didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have him on to talk about some of that stuff, because that it leads us into some maybe some new cocktail shows we have coming up. Maybe another one with Heather Manley, maybe one with Dancing Goat might be coming up. So keep your eyes out for that. We'll keep you apprised of all the information that happens when they start coming down. But we're working on some more tasting nights, so you guys can join us with what we're drinking at the same time. So a lot of stuff in the works going on over the next couple months, and it's only going to get thicker because there's so much more stuff going on in the whiskey world. But I think we're probably good for the night. Look, we even kept it in an hour. I mean, we did so good. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of us.
Yay, us! Yeah. We do have a champion in the house. That's right.
That is true.
Kevin.
That's true.
Yep.
Kevin won a little cocktail contest.
Yeah. Congratulations, sir.
Just another person better than me. That's great.
He's killing it. I mean, Kevin's better than Triple Threat. I mean, we established he's one of the nicest people in the world. He's as handsome as Tom Selleck. He's smart, and he makes cocktails. That's a quad threat.
You better watch it, Kevin. The way he's talking about you like this, he might start cozying up to you some more.
He's more dangerous than Fletch with the Lakers.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so I got my
gritty kid from the mean streets of Louisville.
That's right. Oh, Nathan has brought up maybe the greatest thing of the evening. It doesn't seem like you're. Well, are we coming? Is it weaving? Is there a weave coming?
There's no weave coming, but there's Mohawk's coming. Don't worry.
We had weaves for Eves.
I know.
Yeah, it was weaves for Eves. It wasn't Mo. All right, but I think we're gonna have to keep bringing that up. Thank you, Nathan. Because
Mohawk's coming, guys.
That type of stuff can't be left in the background.
Nope.
Just can't be. So, this is actually pretty nice. So I'm pretty surprised by the evening. If you get a chance when you're down there, it is a surprising little place to kind of cut into. To just kind of get a chance to look around and see how, because a lot of the distilleries are either super new or half of them are tore down. You know, it's just a building left or something too. It was neat to kind of see how many buildings they still had up. I don't know if it was like a just in case someone might want to use them or they need to bring them back at some point if it, you know, it blossomed again. Right. But it was just neat to see that, I don't say level of detail to kind of holding on to it. But you could tell there were, I think they were even talking about if you go into the buildings, stuff could fall on you, right? You know, at random. Like it's not really safe to even go exploring in any of them, which is sad. But is what it is. So definitely take a chance to stop out there, get some Old Crow. Just get normal Old Crow. Give it a try. You know, give it a try. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. So, no safe words. Yes, that's right. No safe words for anyone. Just keep going with it. Now, so join us. Are we doing one Friday?
Nope.
No? Well, there's not one planned. We'll see what happens. But not as of now. It'll be next Monday. Like this, did you see the stress level on Mike? Like I had fucking plans on Friday night.
Wow. I'll tell you on the after show. There is a Friday plan that may or may not dictate if I get to have any fun.
Does it? Oh, wait. Before we go, what was the name of the soul food restaurant you went to? Because I want to know, and I don't want to forget. And I don't want to forget it.
Yeah, and this is 100% truth. Anyone coming to visit Kansas City and you want to get just an absolute damn good meal, go to Niecy's. It is one of the best meals you'll eat there, and then you don't want to eat the rest of the day. And my brother-in-law, they came down last weekend. They came down again this past weekend. He wanted to go there 2 times in a row, and both times he got the oxtail. And it was, I mean, it looked great. But you eat your food there, and then you just afterwards you're like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done it. It was the worst thing. I'm so stupid, you know. But it's just, the food is so damn good. It's just a great restaurant, wonderful food. That's my shout out. Go to Niecy's if you're in Kansas City.
Sounds like that biscuit at Biscuit Belly, where I took a bite and I was like, oh, that's a brick. Like I can't eat the rest of that.
They're homemade corn. Their meatloaf, which is the thing, I get their meatloaf more than anything when I go there. When they, obviously it's pre-made, you know, because they're not going to make a meatloaf just for you when you show up. They'll take it, and before they serve it to you, they slice it up, and then they put the slices on the griddle to char them just a little bit before you get those slices of meatloaf.
Yes.
Holy damn. Oh, it is so good.
Hey, speaking of shout out, before we go here, we've got a couple of friends, acquaintances of ours that are starting up a company where they're aging coffee beans in used barrels.
This is true.
Keep your ears open. We're going to be talking about this a lot coming up as they get this going. I think it's going to be really fantastic. We're looking forward to getting their beans, and I will be in. I usually have a coffee often before the show, FYI, and that's going to be probably my go-to once we start getting those on hand. But you're going to be hearing a lot about that. They're going to be putting out some very special, they're hand-selected beans, really high quality, and they're getting some special barrels that they're doing this in. So, yeah, probably so.
Because
some coffee cocktails and whatnot.
Yeah, we could maybe a couple of coffee show.
We're going to be up all night.
Yeah. We're going to go for
one coffee.
We're going after Ed's record stream.
Oh God!
But seriously, keep your ears open for that. We will have some more information coming soon as they get things rolling. But yeah, watch for that. All you coffee freaks.
Some tasty, interesting stuff because they're doing some interesting barrels. John had a question for you, Mike. Did you get a chance to taste the single malt?
I did. I answered him on there. I haven't had it since I was with him. I do need the samples are actually right here behind me. I need to crack them. I'll probably be doing that after. Well, it'll be after Friday. I'll be able to maybe go a little extra.
All right. Well, that's fair. Hopefully, we can get you over the hump, which is no longer Wednesday now. Apparently, it is Friday.
Yeah.
Mike's got a long week.
There's a Friday hump this week. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's pretty good for this evening. I want to thank everyone here in the chat for stopping in and having a few drinks with us this evening and talking about Old Crow and everything like that. Stop in next Monday for sure. We'll be having another show then, and we'll check the Facebook page. We'll be pulling up stuff as it goes with some of the other things going on. So remember it. Oh, wait a second. There was something that I believe Emily said that I feel like is the way I'm going to end the show tonight. Remember, everyone. Oop, damn it, Ben, you fucked it up by typing.
I typed that like 10 minutes ago.
It's no safe words, no shames. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, Old Crow.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.